So, hello everyone. So, hope you all are staying safe and staying home during this pandemic. So, I'm Ameer. So, you can find me using the handle Ameer the Hacker in most of the social media. And in the day, I work as a software development engineer too at OLX People. So, in OLX People, we are trying to connect all the blue collar workers to enterprises like Amazon and Swiggy. And I mostly work as a front end and a back end developer there, depending on the need. And during the night, I maintain a library called React Lazy Load, which has around 4K stars. I have also built small tools that help myself and I love sharing it with the community. So I blog often at Free Code Camp and Dev, and I'm a huge Marvel fan. So if you're a Marvel fan, we are already a friend. Also. And I'm a big cat lover. I already have a cat lying beside me. And I love stickers. If this was happening uh, as an in-person meetup, you would have seen a lot of crazy stickers in my laptop. And today I'm here to talk about Stylewit. Stylewit is a library which Bilwadiban and I built to solve some of our personal problems that we had with Tailwind and Tail components. So before I even talk about what we actually built or what was the solution that we came up with to solve those problems, there is very much a work in progress solution, and we're not very sure that this might work for everyone. And we are still in beta. It's just like kind of sharing with you guys what you think, and if you're also interested, maybe we can build something, build this into something. So let's see what is about Tailwind. So we all know that we all love Tailwind. It has a huge plus point that you can quickly prototype anything that you want out of nowhere, and it has every atomic CSS that you might like. So there's no need for you to uh, learn CSS from scratch. You can use all the built-in CSS libraries. Did I lose the internet? No, I'm sorry. Checked whether I have lost the internet. Yep, but it also had some problems. Like if you are using Tailwind, you can't use it with React Native because of the obvious problems. And then it had a huge bundle size. I know you can use Perl CSS, but it still doesn't help when you have some dynamic class names, and it's still an additional tooling on top of Tailwind CSS. And then obviously, like any other CSS, it has CSS solution. Like if someone can come in and inject CSS for a built-in style that is in Tailwind CSS, then they can wreak havoc or chaos into your code base. And sometimes the class names go out of limit. You might have huge class names in a single component, and it's not so pretty to good look at, and it's very difficult when you debug. Like if you when you're doing debugging, you see a React component with 10 class names, you have no idea which component it belongs to and things like that. And it also needs extra tooling. Like if you take a normal create React app, you need to install post CSS, create a config, and there are little extra steps that you need to do, and it's not so beginner friendly. And style component has some pros, I would say. Like it right out of the box, it has React Native support, and it protects us from CSS pollution like any other CSS and JS libraries. And you can compose React components with styles, and you can target React components based on like what components that you compose inside another component. And there's already a component name attached to every style that you write, so it's very easy to debug. And there is no extra build tool that is required. You can just install style component and it will be already ready to code, and you can use it in a code sandbox with in a client template. There is no extra build tools that you actually require to use style components. But still, style components are not perfect. Like you need to still need to write your CSS by yourself, and it's actually difficult to follow atomic CSS in style components, because then you need to create a component for every atomic CSS and then reuse it. That's very difficult, so that's not so good. So that's when Bilwadiban and I thought like why can't we like do something like this? Like you keep style component, but is it possible that we use Tailwind like atomic CSS right inside style component? So that's the whole idea about Tailwind. So you just create a style component, just use your favorite Tailwind like classes. Just to be clear, we are not using Tailwind here. We are not dependent on Tailwind. Everything is built into Tailwind. So Tailwind has React Native support out of the box because we are actually depending on style components for almost everything. And it has Tailwind like Atomic CSS, even though we don't depend on Tailwind for that. And has a smaller bundle size. There is no need of any Perth CSS here. And you can again the style component, you can compose them with each other, and there is no extra build tools that are required. So rather than me just talking, let me give you a quick demo. So I have a very basic Create React app with tail components installed, which is our peer dependency. And I also installed Tailwind. We are at beta 7. And I have a very blank app right now. So I'm going to quickly import Tailwind. It's very similar to style components. You need to just import Tailwind as style. And let me quickly create a button component. And now let me, sorry, I need a button. So you already get all the type definitions like style components. Let me just quickly use that over here. So we get a very normal, not so exciting button. Now let's try to style it. Now I need to first change the background of it. Let me try BG red 500. Right away we get a background of red. And then let me try to add some padding. So let me say a padding of 10. But it's too much on the y-axis. So let me just keep this on the x-axis and then add a padding to the y-axis of that. So that's pretty much good. And then when I click on it, there is no feedback that I'm clicking on it. So in Tailwind, we would do it using an active modifier. So I'm just saying whenever it's active, make it a background color of little darker, maybe 800. So now I'm getting a feedback that I'm clicking on the button, but I don't like the ugly border. So I'm not sure about the Tailwind class for the border. So I can just write in normal CSS that I would actually write in in a style component. So this is a normal CSS. This is a Tailwind class, and now you can see I'm still there and it's working. I want the text color also to be white, so I can just do it like Tailwind text white, and I can see immediate feedback for that. And some of you might be thinking that this looks very odd that I'm putting a class name kind of thing directly into style components. If you don't like it, we have a different syntax for you. You can use something like Tailwind or Swind modifier, it's kind of a CSS property, and the value of the CSS property is the class you want. So Swind and BG red 500 would give you the same effect. And if you have something like an active modifier, you can do Swind as an active followed by the class name that you want when it's active. So everything still works. So we have two alternating syntax for based on your taste. And just like style components, you can compose the same component into another component, and you almost get all the supports that you have with style components. So that's a quick demo, but still we are not yet perfect, but we have still a long road to go. So now one of the things that is in our roadmap is to build a Babel macro. Right now all the CSS computations are done on the runtime, which is not so performant. So we are planning to build a macro, which would replace all these Tailwind classes into normal CSS at the runtime. And we are also planning to build a VS Code extension which would provide you autocomplete for all Tailwind CSS like classes. And we also want to build a linter which will give you some errors when you kind of try to use conflicting Tailwind classes or when you have a wrong CSS class or something like that. You can find our documentation right over here. I will probably share this over the chat. And we have a clear documentation on how to get you started and what are the features we have, what are the roadmap, and what are the tools that we have. And give it a star if you like it. And we are accepting PRs. If you have any great ideas, feel free to create any issues if you're facing any, or if you have any great ideas. And yes, that's it. Thank you guys. Hope you guys liked it.